Welcome to Touchwood Flooring. Today I want to talk to you about the biggest question people have when they come into my showroom. And that's, should we be getting hardwood flooring or should we be getting a luxury vinyl plank? Now, that's not just a simple question to answer. So today I want to talk to you about some of the pros, the cons, the costs associated with both, and some of the misconceptions, and maybe help you get a better idea of what would be best for you and your home. So first, let's talk about hardwood flooring. Now, there's two types of hardwood floors. There's a solid hardwood floor, which is exactly that, just a solid piece of wood, milled and manufactured, and it comes in a couple different sizes. Generally, you're gonna see it in a 2 1/4 inch hardwood, a 3 1/4 inch hardwood, or a 4 1/4 inch hardwood. They do make some up to 5 inches, though in our environment, it's not generally the best option as you're gonna get a lot of movement in that floor. The other type of wood floors is an engineered hardwood. Now, an engineered hardwood, on the other hand, is constructed with multiple layers. The core layer is going to be plywood, laminated together, overlapping, which is going to create the stability that you need in our climates. And then there's going to be the top layer of real wood in a white oak, a maple, or any species of wood that you would see in a solid hardwood, but it's going to be just a thin layer across that top. We call that wear layer a lamella. And there's different types of lamella. There's a peeled lamella or a sliced lamella, which are generally going to be thinner. You're not going to have refinishing. You're not going to be able to refinish those types of lamella. Or there's the third kind, which is the higher quality, which is the solid sawn lamella. Solid sawn lamella is going to be ranging from a 3 millimeter to a 6 millimeter thickness, depending on what product you decide to buy. And this is going to have the overall best function and durability in your home. When you're choosing your engineered floors, make sure you know what type of lamella you're getting. Ask the person you're purchasing it from. If you are looking in the future to be able to have some refinishes of that wood, definitely make sure you're getting a solid sawn. If you're a little bit more budget conscious, but you just want to make sure you're getting a wood floor in your home, go with a peeled or a sliced lamella, something a little bit thinner. You're still going to get a beautiful look. You're just not going to be able to refinish it down the line. So let's get into some of the pros of hardwood flooring. There are several reasons hardwood has been so popular for such a long time. Every plank is unique. You get natural grain patterns, natural textures, and real character that simply can't be replicated. And then there's the longevity part of it. If it's properly installed, hardwood flooring can last many lifetimes, 50 to 80 years, especially if you're getting something that's a solid hardwood or a solid sawn engineered hardwood that has a thicker lamella. The ability to refinish it every 15 to 20 years just increases the lifespan of that wood in its current state. That means if you are looking to renovate your home in the future and change color of walls, colors of cabinets, anything like that, you can refinish your floor, stain it a different color, and you've kept the same floor, but you have a whole new look and it almost looks like a brand new floor. And that just adds to the value of any home. Hardwood as well, in the majority of cases, is going to add to the value of your home. Many buyers, they come in, especially now that vinyl's kind of been around for a much longer time. They're going to come in, they're going to see hardwood throughout your home, and it's going to be a lot more of a deciding factor when they decide to purchase that home. There is a con associated with hardwood flooring. It's going to be a higher cost. The installation costs are going to be more than the installation costs of the vinyl plank, but the material costs also are substantially higher. Now, there is a range in hardwood floors. There's some that you can get for close to the cost of a vinyl, and it just goes up from there. Whereas vinyl, it's a little bit more budget conscious, but even with that cost in mind, the longevity you get with a hardwood floor, it kind of makes up for itself. It's just that initial cost that really turns some people away. Another concern that some people may have with hardwood floors is its moisture sensitivity. Wood is a natural material, so it expands and contracts with humidity. That means your hardwood isn't always recommended in some areas of your home. Example, any bathrooms that have bathtubs or showers. Some basements, if your basement is prone to getting a lot of moisture or leaks or anything like that. Hardwood is also a little bit more prone to some scratches and dents. Yes, it's a little bit softer of a product, but it's a little bit easier to maintain over time and make those fixes. If you do get a couple gouges or some scratches, there's options in terms of fillers, waxes, and some oils that you can just use topically on the wood floors that will kind of mask or hide any imperfections from, if you drop some silverware or a plate on the floor, or your dogs are scratching it. You can kind of cover that up with some different options. Now let's talk a little bit about vinyl plank. It's often called LVP or luxury vinyl plank, and vinyl has exploded in popularity over the past 10 years. It's a manufactured product made primarily from PVC and other composite materials. It's typically a rigid core with a printed image on the top layer. And generally they're gonna have 3 to 5 different variations of that printed image. So it doesn't look exactly the same, but over a huge space, you are gonna have repeating patterns. And it's meant to imitate the look of wood floors. Many vinyl planks are made with a click and lock mechanism, but you can also get the option of a full glue down. Now, there are some pros of vinyl plank flooring. They're a little bit more water resistant. So with a hardwood floor, you're not gonna want any standing water on it, or it may swell, may cause some other issues. Whereas on vinyl, if you have a little bit of a spill or a pet accident, getting to it right away, although you always want to get to something like that right away, it's not going to necessarily create the same issues that you would get with a hardwood floor. It's not going to absorb into the material, and it may, depending on what the spill is, it may not stain it the same way that you'd stain a hardwood floor. Also, vinyl plank is a lot easier to install. The length of time it takes to install a vinyl floor isn't going to be the same length of time as it would be for a hardwood floor. It's a little bit more scratch resistant. Your pets may not damage it the same way they would a hardwood floor, but the damage that's done to a vinyl plank floor, you're not necessarily able to resolve it the same way that you can with a hardwood floor. So those topical solutions, for example, the fillers, the oils, the waxes, they're not gonna have the same outcome on that vinyl floor that you do on a hardwood floor. The vinyl plank floor is kind of a one-time floor. Once you start getting damage on it, it's not easily fixable. Whereas with hardwood floors, you can do that topical stuff. You can replace boards easier. And when you're putting a new board into a hardwood floor, you can glue it down to a substrate and it's surrounded by a fixed floor. Whereas with the vinyl plank, for the most part, it's a floating floor. When you try and replace an individual board, you now lose the integrity, the click and lock mechanism, which could impact the rest of the floor overall. As mentioned in the hardwood part of this video, vinyl plank is going to be a lower upfront cost. The material itself is a little bit more cost effective, and so is the installation because it is a bit of an easier process. Unless you are going with a glue down vinyl plank floor, the cost may increase a little bit more because you have more materials. You got to purchase the glue, and then you have to have a heavy duty roller to make sure that that floor is adhering properly to its substrate. Vinyl plank also has limitations. Even the best vinyl plank products, they're still printed surfaces. So it's imitating wood floors. It's not wood floors. You're not going to get the overall look and feel and richness in a vinyl plank floor that you would with hardwood, because you're only going to get a couple different printed looks on each of those planks. And it cannot be refinished. Once vinyl plank wears out, gets damaged, or starts to separate, it's not going to be able to be sanded. At that point, the only real option is to replace the floor. Another problem with this is vinyl plank floors color generally tend to come and go with popularity or with new designs. So if you get a vinyl floor and then 5 years down the road you're looking to match that product in some affected areas or some wear areas, it's not likely you're going to be able to find that same floor again, which can create more problems. You're going to have to replace the whole floor. Whereas with hardwood floors, you're going to generally be able to find something similar. If you can't find something similar, you can replace it with something of the same species and sand everything together, and it's going to look the same again. Most vinyl floors I see around are lasting 5 to 10 years. Again, whereas hardwood, overall, it's lasting much, much longer, 25, 50, 60 years. Especially when you include the fact that it's able to be refinished, you get a lot more life out of that product. One thing I also want to mention about vinyl flooring is because it is a plastic product, it's not biodegradable. When it is replaced, it's being sent to a landfill and it's just sitting there. So it's not great for our environment. Whereas on the opposite spectrum, hardwood flooring, it's real wood floors, it can break down, it can decompose, and much better for the environment. The real question is, which one should you choose? So some of the questions you need to ask are, is this going to be a long-term investment? Is this something for a rental property? Are you looking for a natural material, or are you just looking for a quick fix? If you can answer those questions for yourself, or we can help you come to an answer to those questions, then you ultimately know what's going to be best for your space. If you are looking for just a quick fix and looking to just put something in a rental property, then definitely vinyl might be the right option for you. If you know that, every 5 or so years you're going to be replacing it anyway, that might be the way you want to go. If you're moving into a home that you're looking to be in for the long term, hardwood might be the investment you want to make, because you can refinish it over time to keep up with current trends if you're renovating your home. Also, adding the wood floors is going to create value for your home as a whole, and it's going to feel a lot warmer, richer. The biggest mistakes homeowners make is choosing a flooring type based solely on price or trends. The right flooring really depends on your home, your lifestyle, and how long you plan to live there. If you're in Edmonton and trying to decide between hardwood and vinyl plank flooring, feel free to visit us at Touchwood Flooring, and we'll walk you through the differences. We'll show you real samples of both solid hardwood, engineered hardwood, vinyl plank, and help you choose the floor that's going to be right for your home.